Welcome I1. So today we're going to have a look at Cambridge Book 16. So as you know, the first 4 tests are for academic students and the last 4 tests are for general students. Now if you take the books, actually there are 2 separate books. So you have book 16 for academic, you have book 16 for general. I've put it together so that all of you can watch it, okay? And sometimes some of you are confused, should I be doing academic or general, and then you'll do half of it. But actually I've told you who should be doing academic and who should be doing general, but I've combined both together in the same video. So the first bit is for the academic students, and towards the latter part, the video is for the general students, right? Okay, so let's have a look at the first one here. The charts below show the changes in ownership of electrical appliances and amount of time spent doing housework in households in one country between 1920 and 2019. Okay, so let's have a look at the chart. So here you have percentage of households with electrical appliances, right? So we have the washing machine, we have the refrigerator, and then we have the vacuum cleaner, right? So let me, so this one here is the vacuum cleaner, okay? So if I just draw this one in blue, this is the vacuum cleaner, okay? The other one is the washing machine, and the other one is the refrigerator, okay? So percentage. So you can see that the refrigerator percentage runs to 100%, okay, by 2000. And then, of course, you have the vacuum cleaner as well, slowly increasing. And by 2000 to 2019, it's at 100%. But the washing machine does not reach 100%. There's an increase and there's a slight decrease, but then there's an increase again, okay? So, number of hours of houseworks per week per household. So, number of hours per week has deteriorated throughout the years. So 1920 it was 50%, or 50 hours per week, and by 2019 it falls to 10 hours per week. Okay, right. So we have housework it's inclusive of washing clothes, preparing meals, and cleaning. So I'd like you to take 20 minutes and write your answer. Right, so let's have a look at a sample together, right? So, let's write down the line graphs. So by now you know what we have to do. What do we have to do? Paraphrase the question, okay? The line graphs illustrate total percentages of electrical appliances in a given country, because we don't know the name, from 1920 to 2019, and the results on housework undertaken per week. Next, we have the overall It is readily apparent that all electrical appliances became more popular. Using the past tense, right, in particular refrigerators and vacuum cleaners. The total time spent doing housework has also declined steadily and dramatically in the last 100 years. Moving on, I'm going to write the next para. Alright, so moving on to the next para. Refrigerators witnessed the most significant rise beginning at just over 0% in 1920, surging to more than 50% by 1950, and then continuing to rise steadily until plateauing at 100% around 1980. Vacuum cleaners started higher at 30% and then rose by 20% every 20 years until 1960, when growth tapered, which means gradually decrease, right? Tapered. And ownership ultimately reached 100% by 1980. In contrast, proportions for washing machines began at 40%, climbed to 70% by 1960, then fell slightly and recovered to finish the period at just above 70%. Last para. The result for housework was that time spent washing clothes preparing meals and cleaning fell steadily from 50 hours a week in 1920 to 20 hours a week by 1916. After that, the decline was more gradual, reaching slightly above 10 hours by 2019. Right, so I think we've got a fairly structured answer, right? We've got the intro here, and then we have the overall, which is the most obvious trend or trends, right? And then I talk about the first graph, which is this one, okay? And then I talk about the second graph. So I didn't really see why I would break it to wash in, refrigerator, vacuum, because then altogether I have 3 paras. Then I'll not be able to write this. So what I did was put all the information about the percentage of households with electric appliances in one para. And in the second body para, I spoke about the number of hours. So I said from 1920, it was like a quick drop to 20, and after that it was more gradual and it dropped to 10%, okay? So what I did here was I spoke about those 3, right? Which was how the washing machine started at 40 and then what happened. Refrigerator started at 0% and what happened. Vacuum cleaners, they started at, so it was a refrigerator that started at 0, right? So vacuum cleaners started at 30 and the washing machine started at 40%, and what happened as the years went by. And then finally, as I told you, I spoke about the housework, which started at 50 and then straight away dropped to 20. But after that, it was more like a gradual decline and it stopped at just above 10 hours, right? So I hope you would have written a similar answer, and you can then compare it against what I've written. The important part here is that you use the vocabulary and the linkers and make sure that you have a progress in your answer, okay? Right, so we move on into writing task 2, right? In some countries, more and more people are becoming interested in finding out about the history of the house or building they live in. What are the reasons for this? How can people research this? So here you have 2 questions and it's more like a direct essay question. Some people say direct, okay? So it's that type of essay question. So I'd like you to take 40 minutes and write your answer. Alright, so I hope you would have finished writing your answer. Let's have a look at an answer together, right? So, let's write, in recent years, many communities prefer to find out about the building they stay in. In different parts of the world, crowds preferred to search for paranormal things. This essay will explore what might be this case and the way of how the society is searching for details or for their details. Right, so moving on to the next para, the knowledge of the background of a house gives people a sense of self-satisfaction. That is why people, especially those who live in a house built many years ago, are often interested to find out more about the place. The background often includes, or let's say often include, how the house was built in an era when technology was not so advanced. Thus, exploring the background reveals unique and fascinating facts. For instance, it was a common misconception for many dwellers in the old part of our city that their houses were built mimicking the English styles but by the local masons. Moreover, the construction and the build quality of a house convey much information about the safety and durability of the houses. Knowing such details could prevent people from facing any disaster like falling victim to a collapsed house. Finally, some people superstitiously think a house might be haunted if it has some bad history. Learning about its history often comes from their personal belief and their motivation to either cleanse the house or move out. Next para. To get proper information about the houses, people can talk to local senior citizens who had been living there for quite a while. They can offer first-hand information about the building and much more details that are not available elsewhere. On top of that, or you can say further, the internet could be another effective source to get details of a house. For instance, giving an example, many websites store data about the houses in the UK, and anyone can find them online with just a few mouse clicks. In conclusion, people's motivation to learn about their houses could range from safety reasons to simple curiosity from superstition to practical reasons. To get the best information, they can elderly locals or browse the internet. Right, okay, so here we've got a good structure. So I've written the introduction, okay, right on top is the introduction. Body para 1 seems a bit long, right? But in body para 1, what do I write? I write about what are the reasons for this. Why do people want to find out about the history of their house? Okay. So what I write is that I say, okay, one reason is because they want to often find out, about the place. That's one reason, okay, about the background, etc. And another one would be that it's, kind of a unique, fascinating feeling, okay? So you want to find out, okay, what are the misconceptions about the place? What kind of beliefs do people have, right? And, the English styles were put into place but by local builders, right? So it talks about, the design and the structure. Finally, it talks about some superstitious things, right? Lots of people think, okay, does it have a bad history? Then the house is not good to buy. So kind of things like that. And then finally, and then they ask you, how can people research for this? So what I've told is you can research 2 ways. One way is that you get information from the local people, right? Local elders. They can give you good information. The other thing is you can browse the internet, and I've given an example. Finally, in conclusion, I say, well, it could range from a different set of reasons, right? From safety to simple curiosity, as well as you can find the best information from the internet as well as from the local elders. All right. So I hope you've written something which is quite similar to this. Right, so moving on into test 2, academic task 1. Here you have a diagram, and this shows how sugar is being made out of sugar cane, right? So you have growing sugar canes, and then you harvest it, you crush the sugar canes and the juice comes out, okay? Then the juice is purified through a limestone filter. That is then put through to the evaporation process where the juice becomes the syrup, and also you're giving in heat. Then you put the separate sugar crystals from the syrup to the drying and cooling stage where sugar comes out, okay? So I'd like you to take 20 minutes and write the answer. Right, so I hope you would have finished. Let's write a sample answer. The picture illustrates the steps undertaken to produce sugar from sugarcane. Overall, the production of sugar involves 7 stages that begins with growing the sugarcane, in farms, to the stage of getting sugar from syrup. The sugar canes are grown in the farmland for about a year to 18 months, and then the mature plant is either harvested, no, let's say the plant is harvested either manually or with the help of agricultural machinery. After that, the sugar cane stalks are crushed in a grinder resulting formation of sugarcane juice. Next para. In the next step, the juice is purified by going through a limestone filter. Subsequently, the juice is heated in an evaporator, and by vaporizing the water, it becomes syrup. The syrup is then poured into a centrifuge where it separates sugar crystals from syrup. Finally, the sugar is processed or is produced by drying and cooling the crystals. So here we have an answer. So I put a few steps, right? We've got the intro, we've got the overall. I put a few steps in the first para and then a few steps in the next body para, okay? So you also can think where you want to separate it. How do you separate it, okay? So I come up to kind of here, this bit, and then from there onwards I go. So 4 steps in one roughly and the remaining 3 in one, okay? So you could also divide it in the same way or in a similar manner, okay? All right, so coming to the next task, which is task 2 in test 2. Write about the following topic. In their advertising, business nowadays usually emphasize that their products are new in some way. Why is this? You need to tell me why. Do you think it is a positive or negative development? So this is a direct essay question for the first bit, but the next bit is rather an opinion or argumentative essay. So do you think it is positive or negative? All right. I'd like you to plan your answer first before writing, okay? Take about 2 minutes to reread the question, about 3 minutes to plan, and then you can write for 30 minutes. So at the end, you have 5 minutes to proofread your answer. Right, okay, so let's have a look at a sample answer. So this is like a sample where a student has got a 4.5, okay? So by looking at it, you know now, we've done so many books, right? You know, okay, why does a student have 4.5? Now, if you have a look at the student's answer, right, it's quite short. And the structuring is not very good. There is some progress in the answer, right? But not so good. In terms of simple sentences, yes, the student is writing some sentences, but sometimes it is repetitive and does impede the meaning, okay? But according to some experts, when you take a lot of care of something, you will probably do some things about it wrong. From my own experience, I was trying to make 3 school projects which my teachers asked me to do, and despite my hard work and because I was stressed about the projects I had to do, finally failed. I had made a lot of mistakes, okay? So having a look at the question, do you think it really answers the question? That is the problem here, okay? So a bit of a problem here. And that is why the student has got a 4.5. I'd also like you to go through the band descriptors of 4 and see why the student could get a 4.5, okay? All right, so moving on, we have Academic Test 3, Writing Task 1. The plans below show the site of an airport now and how it will look after redevelopment next year. Okay, so I think it should be quite a little like a redevelopment. Okay, so let's have a look at the airport. Southwest Airport now. Check-in cafe, walkway, gates. Okay, so by the time it is developed after 1 year, it's got check-in, it's got a bag drop. There's also cafe, but new things, ATM, SkyTrain, car hire, and the gates are there. So walkway has been taken out. Okay, so you can see here they have 8 gates and then you have the walkway, but then from here you've got the SkyTrain and you have 1 to 18 gates. So before there were no shops, but now you have shops. Security and the passport control remains the same. Passport control and the customs also remain the same. Okay. Cafe remains the same, but now you've got an ATM. You've also got a car hire here at the arrival section. And at the departure, before it was only the check-in, but now they still have the check-in, okay? But the check-in is now on the right, before it was on the left. They've also got a bag drop and they've got another cafe, in the sense they had a cafe before on the right, but now we've moved to a different place in the departure section, okay? So actually, Arrivals has a new cafe, Arrivals has a new cafe, okay? So departure and arrival, and you can see the changes after development. I'd like you to take 20 minutes and write your answer. Alright, so let's have a look at a sample answer. The maps show the layout of Southwest Airport at present and proposed changes to make it look different after renovations next year. Overall, the size of the airport will expand by increasing the number of gates and offering additional facilities to accommodate both arriving and departing passengers. Body para. The location of arrivals and departures, or you can say arrival and departure. Let's say arrival and departure will remain the same as present. However, the check-in counter is projected to move from left let's say, from the left side to the right after the redevelopment. Moreover, the cafe which is before the passport control will be repositioned near to the doors of the departure section. The security passport control and customs will remain unchanged. Next para. It is predicted in future that there will be an inclusion of a cafe, ATM, and car hires in the arrival space Moreover, shops will be constructed just after the security. The most noticeable alterations will be replacing the walkway with the sky train track and branching the corridor to add 10 more gates for the passengers. Right, okay, so here we have got the intro, the overall, right? And 2 body paras talking about the similarities and the differences, right? So I'd like you to also write a similar answer, and hopefully if you have written one, you can compare it against the answer given here, okay? Your one could be different, but it doesn't mean it's wrong, okay? So as I always tell you, writing needs to be assessed so that you get some feedback as to what you're writing. Is it good? Do you need improvement? If so, in what areas? Okay? All right. So, let's have a look at the next question, right? Now here, you must spend about 40 minutes on this task. Many manufactured food and drink products contain high levels of sugar, which causes many health problems. Sugary products should be made more expensive to encourage people to consume less sugar. Do you agree or do you disagree? Now that depends. You can say, yes, I agree, okay, because it will stop people from buying more sugar products. It will be less problematic in the future because you don't have to spend so much for your health, and also it is a burden for the healthcare sector when a lot of people are sick, okay? So you could talk about it, or you can disagree and say it's your choice, it's your personal choice. You as an individual should know the positives and the negatives of having more sugary food and drinks, right? So it is the individual's responsibility to control themselves, right? It depends on how you want to build up your argument, but either one is fine. You can completely agree, you can completely disagree, or you can say, well, I think there's a part for the government, okay, to impose, a high price, a tax on it so that the prices will increase, whereas it is also the individual's responsibility to, purchase what is good for their health. So have a look at it on your own, where you could write your own view. You have 40 minutes to do that. Right, so I hope you would have finished writing your answer. Let's have a look at a sample answer, right? Now, this is only a sample, as I tell you. It doesn't mean that what I'm writing is the only right thing and that's the only way you can write an answer. There are so many ways, right, that you could write a good answer, but it's just to give you some guideline or maybe to help you with your ideas, and then see, okay, what are the words, what are the phrases that I could pick up from that, and what are the ideas that I could write. Okay, if you don't have any idea, some of you might struggle. So it's only as a support, as a help for you, right? But it's not the only answer and, like a 9.0, the best answer. Okay, so it's just to give you an insight to the essay. Sugar is undoubtedly one of the most harmful food ingredients when consumed more than the recommended amount, which is often the case in our daily diet. To reduce the sugar food and drinks intake many recommend making them more expensive and I believe that such sugar-packed products should be expensive to promote public health. Despite the common myth of the health benefits of sugar, scientists and nutritionists suggest that they are addictive and are slow poison. That means it like kills the person slowly. Fast foods and sugary foods and drinks like soft drinks, ice cream, soda or sodas come cheap and are ready to be consumed without any effort. That is why they have become so popular and from children to the elderly, everyone loves those sugary foods and drinks. However, these are known to cause serious diseases like diabetes and heart diseases and are connected to obesity. Since they are linked to so many health diseases and deaths, the authority should impose taxes directly and indirectly on those sugary items to make them unaffordable to the mass, which will improve the health sector. Next para. Moreover, people often opt for food and drinks that are cheap and easily available. If we look around, the departmental store we can notice that we have sugary items all around us, and they are affordable. So, to restrict sugar intake, the prices should be increased via direct and indirect taxes. If they are made more expensive, people will reduce their consumption and go for more healthier alternatives. For instance, if a healthy meal costs $5, while a sugary junk meal is $10, most people will go for the cheaper and better option. It will gradually but surely improve the public health sector and reduce medical care expenses both for the government and ordinary citizens. In conclusion, imposing higher taxes on sugary items will bring about more benefits and reduce the cost of healthcare. It is therefore expected that the authority will take steps to make sugar-packed items expensive. Right, okay. So, again, we've got why it should be increased, okay? So, I say that I believe that they should be expensive, okay? One reason is because of the health benefits, okay? So when people don't get sick, it's a less burden for the healthcare industry. So that's one thing. And the other one is that, so they're asking only for disagreeing. And the other one that I said was, it's good because if you make it like a cheaper option, then it would be better, okay? So if you make sure that the sugary ones are high in price and people will go for the cheaper one, and again that will be less burden for the healthcare sector as well as the government, which is good for all the citizens. So in conclusion, we have all of these details where higher taxes on sugary items will bring more benefits. All right. Okay. Now this is for the general students. Now, if you're taking up general IELTS, then this is going to be your task. You should spend about 20 minutes, you know that. Mrs. Barrett, an English-speaking woman who lives in your town, has advertised for someone to help in her home for a few hours a day next summer. Right? So she's an English-speaking lady, right? And she lives in the same town as you or myself, right? And has advertised for someone to help her in her home for a few hours. Okay, so maybe for a few tasks a day next summer. Write a letter to Mrs. Barrett, and in your letter, suggest how you could help her, why you would like to do this work. Explain when you will and will not be available. So my availability, in other words. Right? So you have to write a minimum of about 150 words. Let's say 150 to about 200 words max to max. I'd like you to take 20 minutes and write the answer on your own. Off you go. Right, all right. So I hope you would have written an answer. Let's have a look at a sample answer, right? So let's write down, Dear Mrs. Barrett. Okay, so that's her name, and that's exactly what we have written here, right? So now starts your introductory para, or you can start with the first para itself. Okay, but I'd like to have a little intro para to explain who I am. Okay, so my name is Emily Jackson. I am writing this letter to make an inquiry if you still need somebody to help you at your home. Actually, very recently, I came across your advertisement in a local newspaper and I thought it would be a great opportunity for me to earn some extra cash to take piano lessons during the next summer, while also helping you at your home. Next para. With regards to what sort of assistance I could offer you, I could do anything from washing dishes to doing and folding laundry. I can even do grocery shopping in addition preparing some occasional afternoon snacks. I have learnt to do all these things at home because I have to fill in for the duties of my mother who has to leave the house every once in a while for professional reasons. Further, I am available anytime during the weekends (7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. during the weekdays So, if this fits your need, please let me know. Kind regards, you can say Emily Johnson. Okay, so this is the letter. Oh, Emily Jackson, sorry. I just need to change it to Jackson. Emily Jackson. Okay, so here is a sample answer of what you could write. Okay, now here you say, oh dear Mrs. Barrett. Make sure the comma is clear. Okay, and then you have the name, right? And what does the first one tell you? How you could help her in the home, why you would like to do this work. So basically I have moved that up. why I would like to do it is because I'd like to take up piano classes during the next summer while working. Okay, so to find that extra cash. What kind of things I could do? I could assist in anything for depending on what it is, household work, washing dishes, doing and folding the laundry, right, and even preparing occasional afternoon snacks, going shopping. I could do all of that because when my mother goes away, I am used to doing those kind of things. So then finally, you've got this point, explain when you will and will not be available. So I've told her, I'm available anytime during the weekend, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. during the weekdays. So if this fits your need, please let me know. Okay? So if this fits your need, please let me know. Kind regards, and then I've got the name here, Emily Jackson. Or you can say yours sincerely, Emily Jackson. Even that's okay, right? So you could even say yours sincerely. Right, so we've got that bit. All right, so with that, I'd like to move on into the next question. Plastic bags, plastic bottles, and plastic packaging are bad for the environment. What damage does plastic do to the environment? What can be done by governments and individuals to solve this problem? Okay, so what damage does plastic actually do? Okay, what are the effects? This is effect and solution. Okay, what are the effects of plastic? Right? And then what can be done, not just in general, but what can be done by governments, what can be done by individuals. All right? So this is like an effect and solution kind of one. Okay? So I'd like you to take 40 minutes and write the answer. All right. So let's have a look at a sample answer. Nowadays, almost everything we buy is packaged in plastic, a material that damages the environment. I believe plastic pollutes the land and the oceans and to solve this problem, product packaging should be more efficient. Plastic wastes or plastic waste cause land and sea pollution. So stop the sentence from there. Sea pollution. This is because They are difficult and expensive to recycle and therefore most of them are sent to landfill sites sitting there for thousands of years before decomposing. Plastic waste can also find their way to the sea. The ones discarded on the beach may be blown to the sea or may be blown to the ocean. Even those thrown on the streets are sitting. Now let's edit එතනින් ඉඳන් ගන්න streets වලින් පස්සේ ගන්න. And sitting on landfill sites may be blown into gutters and discharged with sewage into rivers and then reach the oceans, threatening the survival of marine animals or sea animals. Next one. To reduce plastic waste, a more efficient design of packaging should be encouraged. Governments can help by giving tax subsidies to manufacturers that use less plastic in packaging. Moving on, right? With the removal of excess air and water, right? So we can say with the removal of excess air and water, comma, products require less packaging. Consumers can also contribute by choosing not to purchase products packaged in unnecessary large plastic containers. For example, right, let's write down the example. Do not buy protein powder that comes in a big bottle that is 1/3 empty. To respond to consumer concerns, more and more brands would start using sustainable packaging which could keep millions of tons of plastic materials out of landfills every year. In conclusion, we are coming to the last para. Plastic is bad for the environment because it does damage the land and the sea. To address this issue, governments and consumers should support products that have less packaging. To the end of this answer, we've had a look at the intro, and then what I looked at is, what damage does it do to the environment? Okay, so I had a look at the damages in the first body para. Okay, so it pollutes the land and the sea. Okay, and then I had a look at in the second para as to what governments and individuals can do, right? So made sure that I wrote a few solutions that the government can do to help, right? So to kind of reduce the tax on companies that promote less plastic packaging, and then talk about how consumers can contribute to choose to buy products which have less plastic packaging, okay? So finally, in conclusion, I said, well, it is bad for the environment, and to address this issue, governments as well as consumers should both pay attention to it, all right? Okay, so moving on into the next one, test B, writing task 1. Moving on, so test B, we have writing task 1. You have just read an article in a national newspaper which claims that town centers in your country all look very similar to each other. We don't fully agree with this opinion, so you're going to write a letter to the editor. Okay, we wrote something similar, not the same thing, but something similar, okay? Say which points in the article you agree with, and then explain ways in which your town center is different from most of the other town centers. Offer to give a guided tour of your hometown to the writer of the article, okay? So, I'd like to give you 20 minutes to write down an answer. Alright, so I hope you would have finished writing your answer. Let's have a look at a sample answer which was written by a candidate. Now, this is a sample answer which was awarded a band score of 6.5, okay? So having a look at this, it's clear that the student understands the structure, okay? And the student can write simple sentence structures, and there is a certain range of lexis, okay? It is related to the topic, and it brings out the meaning of what the student wants to tell. Clear progression is there in the letter, so you can see body para 1, 2 and 3, okay? So which stuff you agree with, okay? And which stuff you disagree with, which is different, and then offer a guided tour. So at the end, I would like to offer a tour in BRNO, okay? So that is the name of the city, in hope that it could change your opinions. I think it might be Bruno, right? But student has written BRNO, so that's fine, okay? So this is the structure, and I think this is fairly a good attempt. So if you're looking for a 6.5, this is the kind of answer we're looking for. And also, you can go through the band descriptors. I've taught you this at the start, okay? How to go through your band descriptors and what they mean. So keep your answer against the band descriptors and see which ones you think are good and is it up to this standard, okay? If you feel your one is not that good, then have a look at this one and see which points you could add into your letter. Right, so moving on into task 2. Some people like to try new things, for example, places to visit and types of food. Other people prefer to keep doing things they are familiar with. You need to discuss both these attitudes or views. Give your opinion, right? So, new things, view 1, right? Familiar things, view 2. And then you're supposed to give your opinion. So, I'd like you to take 40 minutes and write the answer. Alright, I hope you have finished it. So, we're going to have a look at an answer which achieved a band score of 5.5. Okay. Now, there are some things that you could avoid doing it, like using contractions. Okay. So, pay attention to punctuation, pay attention to spelling, okay? Pay attention to the range of sentences that you're writing. Avoid using question tags like this, okay? And if you do these kind of errors along with your grammar and lexis errors, you will be awarded a 5.5 to a 6, something in between, okay? So you get a 5 or a 5.5. But 6 is going to be a bit better than this, okay? So 5.5 is where the student has achieved all of 5 and some of band 6, okay? So some positive features of band 6, which I think is going to be a certain range of vocabulary, okay? And then a bit of grammar, student is trying, okay? So would be a 5.5. But simple things like uncomfortable, don't make such spelling errors if you want a 7 above. And that's what we're looking at this level, okay? So during our advanced level, what we're trying to aim at is a 7 upwards, right? Okay, so we have our test 3, general writing task 1, okay? A magazine wants to include contributions from its readers. So write a letter to the editor of the magazine about what influenced you the most, okay? Or about the book. I think there's a part missing there. The book that influenced you the most. Describe what this book was about. Explain how this book influenced you, as well as say whether this book would be likely to influence other people. So take 20 minutes and write your answer. Alright, so we're going to have a look at a sample answer. And here you can see that the candidate has been awarded 7. So it's something like what we are looking at, okay? So the student has written, "Dear Sir, Madam, I'm writing in response to the article, the book that influenced me most, printed in the last issue of your magazine, as it was stated there that you would be waiting for readers' contributions." So here and there little grammar errors, which I corrected while reading, okay? Having noticed this, I couldn't have failed taking an opportunity to share my experience. So when you have a look at this, okay, you can see the range of lexis and the sentence structures that the student is writing. Okay, so this is what we expect at a band score of. Right, so I'd like you to kind of pause the video and go through it. Okay, and at the end you can write yours faithfully. Okay, interesting way, full stop. Yours faithfully. You can write your name there. Okay, Saman Pereira, whatever your name is, you can write there. Okay, so it depends how you structured your answer. Okay, pause the video here and go through it. Few grammar errors here and there, right? But overall, I think it's very good. Okay, so please do have a look at this answer more in detail and see what you can take into your vocabulary and add it onto your vocab list. Okay. Right, so we come into the general test C, which is our third test, writing task 2. Some people spend most of their lives living close to where they were born. What might be the reasons for this? Okay. And what are the advantages and disadvantages? So it's kind of a direct question, but moved along with advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so you've got 2 questions to answer. I'd like you to take 40 minutes and write your answer. The trend of immigrating, that is going permanently to live in a different country, right? And settling in an entirely different country is increasing nowadays. However, the majority of the population still spend their whole life native place or close to it. Firstly, being in a familiar place creates a sense of safety and security. Since people and places are known to them, they get to live in a comfort zone from which they do not want to move out. Secondly, one gets to enjoy the advantage of living near parents and friends. This can help in all phases of life. For example, whether it is finding the first job or buying a house, it is far easier when one has good connections. Although living in or close to the native place has many positives. There are some disadvantages to it. People living in a familiar environment do not get real-time exposure of the world. This can limit their growth. Also, sometimes there are very few job opportunities in these places. This is especially true for those living in villages. If these people decide to live in that village their whole life, they will most probably have to choose farming as their means of livelihood. This may not suit educated young people who have greater aspirations in life. Stake in life. Thus, obviously, staying in one's native place can hurt one's personal and professional growth. On the other hand, being in a strange and different place can be challenging emotionally as well as financially. And ultimately helps the individual to grow independently. In conclusion, the home environment safeguards the individual and makes their lives less stressful. Continue. However, starting from scratch and managing everything independently in a distinct place is difficult at the beginning, but rewarding in the end. Right, so here we've got a complete answer, right? So I've written the introduction, okay, and then I've written the reasons, okay, for this and the advantages and disadvantages of living to your place where you live, close to your place, okay, where you live. Right, so here is just a sample. You can go through it, pause it, and have a look at your own one and see what ideas are missing, what could you add to your answer. Alright, so let's have a look at test D, which is the last test for the general students, and you're going to do this on your own. Your friend has been offered a place on a course at the university where you studied. He or she would like advice about finding a place to live. So, you're going to write to your friend, which is an informal one. We had something similar, but that was to talk about the course. This is a place to stay. Describe where you lived when you were a student at university. Recommend the best way for him, should be him, or her to look for accommodation. Warn him or her of mistakes students make when choosing accommodation. Okay, so I'd like you to take 20 minutes and do it on your own. I'm not going to write a sample, and that's for you for homework. All right, so take 20 minutes and write the answer. Okay, so the last task for you would be test D, general task 2, right? So some people say that it is now the best time in history to be living. And what is your opinion about this, right? What other time in history would be interesting to live in, okay? So I'd like you to take 40 minutes and write the answer. So I'm not going to give you a sample because it's like homework. You can do it on your own now. So with this, we have come to the end, and this is our last book, right? Book 16 is the last book as of now, and we've discussed all the questions. Okay, we've discussed all the books in detail. We've had a look at sample answers. You've done, you've criticized or you've had a look at sample answers of students. Okay, so not to criticize in a bad way, but that gives us like a benchmark. Okay, what should we do to get a 6? What kind of answer is a 6, a 6.5, an 8, a 9, right? So we've done such a lot, and with that, we come to the end of book 16 for Cambridge practice tests.